So one of the questions we have to answer, well, actually this would be a whole series of questions, is about Wyoming schools, which are closed now. Some of the questions would have to be, what about graduating seniors? What can students do to continue studying at home? And a recent order, Nick, from the governor that just came down?
Well, on Friday, yeah. They've
Yes.
got schools now closed through April 17th, meaning at this point the earliest they would reopen is Monday, April 20th.
So our guests lined up here. Superintendent of Natrona County Schools, Steve Hopkins, Laramie County School District 1, Dr. Boyd Brown, and Albany County School District Number 1, Jubal Yenny's on the phone. I'll start with Mr. Yenny from Albany County. So in the county, I would think that you have students who are hoping to graduate soon. What happens with them?
Yeah, good morning, Glenn.
Morning.
Jubal Yenny. Well, it's a little too early to tell at this point. I think probably people have been dealing with that uncertainty, but we are starting to think about graduation ceremonies or the lack thereof. Certainly, education is going to continue, and we'll make sure that students graduate this year. It's just a matter of when that ceremony will be.
And Superintendent, I'm a little familiar with the school district down there. You've got some schools that are pretty rural. Are there some particular challenges when it comes to the virtual learning that you all are going to have to dive into?
Certainly, probably not unlike most Wyoming counties and school districts. We do have those remote areas, and we've identified, currently we probably have about 100 families that we have to not only get devices to, but internet access. So we're working on those this week so we can prepare for the virtual learning model next week.
And where does that funding come from? Is that something like a state grant or a federal grant?
Not additional funding. Primarily what we're looking at is we have the devices currently in our schools.
Oh, okay.
Just a matter of distributing those devices. There are some opportunities for internet access that some of the providers are doing out there, but we're also taking a look at hotspots and things like that.
And so when Superintendent Balo's order came down on Friday, that wasn't a surprise to anybody, I take it. You probably have at least a pretty good chunk of a virtual learning plan already conceived.
But we did. Certainly, as preparation's been made over the last month, we have been thinking about all these things, yes.
Very good.
Okay. Well, Steve Hopkins, now we'll just go to a busier area because, as Nick just said, Albany County, a bit more spread out. But when we get to Steve Hopkins, he's in Natrona County, and you're in District 1, Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So since it's a little more packed in Natrona County, you've got a few more students to worry about, but are the needs any different, and what's your communications like with the state and Julian Barlow at this time?
Direct communications. We have been in contact with the State Department, I think, nearly daily through these last 2 weeks. The effect isn't much different than in Albany County, larger number of students, but same challenges and same opportunities.
And when you talk about those challenges, Superintendent, with the virtual learning, what are those? I mean, I've sat in a classroom and done, chalk or whiteboards or whatever. I can't imagine being in high school or something and having to do it all over the computer.
Nick, you're right. It's a Herculean task that we're going to ask parents and students and faculty to undertake here over the next few weeks. We've been preparing, as other districts have. During the 2 weeks of closure, students and teachers have been connected virtually, so one might say we've been practicing at it. We still have another week. It's spring break here in Natrona, but we'll continue to prepare so that a week from today we'll be ready to go. Connectivity is probably the biggest challenge, so we're identifying those families that don't have internet access. If we can't get them internet access, we'll go to paper and pencil. Our bus drivers are ready to deliver it to the front door of those homes.
Wow, so whatever you can to get it done.
You got it.
And what advice do you have for parents? I mean, it's probably one thing. I don't have any children, but it's probably one thing to have to be, with your kids all the time now if you really are following the best guidelines and staying at home. How do parents try and make sure that their kids keep up with the education?
Sure, that's a great question, and so I'll start with the word grace. So grace to the family and grace to the teachers that will be delivering it. I think the key is for the parents to stay in contact with that teacher. Make sure the teacher's aware of how their student is doing, what needs they particularly have. Our faculty are quite good at being able to adapt and adjust to the unique needs of each student. That occurs in a traditional educational setting. I think it will continue in this virtual setting.
Yes, sir.
And how do they keep in touch with their teachers? Can they just go ahead and look that up online, or do they need to call the school to get the teacher's contact information?
So, Glenn, most parents already have their teacher's contact information, but if they don't, it's on our district website. It's on school individual websites. Parents have each other's information. Folks are pretty darn connected these days, and we appreciate that.
Okay, I want to move over to Dr. Boyd Brown. He's in Laramie County, which is another one of those unique areas, Dr. Brown, that could be very busy in the Cheyenne area, but then very rural on the outside area. And one of the things I've been reading about and a little more concerned about is those special need families. Are people picking up lunches at the schools, and are lunches for those special needs students being delivered way out into the county?
We have 15 locations where we're delivering meals, breakfast, and lunch to. People just need to drive by and grab a lunch there. If we had some out in the rural area, if they would contact us, we would get it to them. Again, our transportation department and our nutrition services department have paired up, and our buses are running our food wherever we need it. Again, if there's somebody out there that is in part of our rural area and we needed to get something out to them, we would. So, again, it's trying to do the best that we can and partner with our parents, partner with the state, and try to make the best of a tough situation for us.
And Superintendent, a point of clarification, at this point, school would still end at the same period in the year, or are we talking about extending the curriculum months into the summer here?
At this time, I think most school districts are looking at ending their school year when they had planned to. Again, that's up in the air right now. We're shut down at least through April 17th, and so trying to make sure that we do what we need to do. I keep telling people that at least in Laramie 1, we're going to plan to continue through the end of the school year as normal, but it's going to be remote learning. Again, whether we're doing that online or delivering packets to families, we're going to get that done. We're also going to continue to do everything on the same schedule. We've talked about having a drive-in or drive-through graduation services where a principal would announce a student, shake their hand through the window of a car, and we'd video that, live stream it if we can't have people together. So, yeah, we're trying to do the best that we can with a situation that's a little unprecedented for us.
It takes a lot of creativity to come up with that. And, I wanted to ask, how does this impact grading, those measurements of student achievement? And then as far as the virtual learning, you've got something in place for the classroom portion. Has there been, I'm sure there has been thought put to it. What's the step for extracurricular activities, sports, theater, that kind of thing?
At this time, the Wyoming High School Activities Association has done the same thing that the governor has and suspended all activities through April 17th. We have said that there cannot be any gatherings, so nobody more than 10. We do have information that came out from the Wyoming High School Activities Association just this last week that they would allow coaches and sponsors to provide individual workouts or individual opportunities for students to work on things. So we're looking at that today with my administrative team, and we'll kind of put together some guidelines for all of our coaches and sponsors in Laramie 1.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your time.
And I'd like to thank all of the superintendents who have come on this morning. The Toronto County School District, Steve Hopkins, Laramie County School District 1, Dr. Boyd Brown, Albany County School District 1, Jubal Yenny. Thank you all for coming on this morning. Governor Mark Gordon is up next, 7:16 is the time. You're listening to a special edition of Wake Up Wyoming Coronavirus Town Hall Live.